Hi guys, thanks so much for jumping into the live stream, and a special shout out to those of you who are watching after the live stream. If you jump in, make sure that you leave us a comment. We can only see who's live when there is a comment. I'm trying to pull up my uh, stuff right now so I can track that. Like I said, if you're after and you're watching the replay, make sure that you leave that comment. Today, we're talking about the why being the dumbest person in the room is the best thing. I know it's kind of counterintuitive, but we're going to dive deep into why business owners need to be the dumbest people in the room. All right. So Christian is coming soon, but for those of you guys who do not know, my name's Aaron. I'm the managing director here at BitBranding, and we're going to be talking about being the dumbest person in the room, and more importantly, why it's the best thing. Now, let me make sure that this is running correctly. Looks like we're live streaming correctly. So if you are jumping in live, please make sure to leave a comment. Just let us know you're here. And if you are watching afterwards on the replay, just type replay in the comment, or if you got any questions. But it should be a really good topic. So what we're going to teach you guys is why being the dumbest person in the room is the best thing. This is for really any type of business owner, but specifically for us, those local business owners. So those who are trying to book appointments, that this is going to benefit you the most. But any business owner could probably benefit from it. But that is who it's for. All right, so let's jump into the first point here. I don't see any main comments yet. It is a little bit of a lag, so if you have them, go ahead and leave them below, and I'll jump in after. And then we'll get a nice little surprise whenever Christian jumps in live as well. All right, so number one, to truly grow, you need to lead, but also be led. So what that means is that you could be in a managerial role and lead a team, but if you aren't finding a way to grow yourself, it's going to be hard for you to continue to lead your team as well. So there may be people under you, there may be people that are associates, and you'll be able to help them. But if you aren't getting help, it's going to be really hard for you to continue to grow and add value to those people you're helping right now. So, just for those who are watching now and for the replay, have you ever been in a situation where you're leading a team, or you're leading your household, or you're leading your local business, but you don't have a leader ahead of you? Do you have somebody who you're asking questions to that is guiding you? This could be a mentor. A lot of times it could be a mentor. A lot of times it could be like a mastermind. Sometimes it could just be like another person in business that's maybe a couple of steps ahead of you. But really, you just need that person to be able to bounce ideas off of, to have conversations with, because what you find is that you don't know what questions to be asking for that next step. For example, if this person who's been in business for say 5 or 10 years is talking about things that you would have never thought about, it's going to help you in your business today. And you just never would have had that conversation. So you just want to surround yourself with those people. Um, for those who are watching live, and I want to make sure we can see the comments here. Again, we're talking about why being the dumbest person in the room is the best thing. And this is for those local business owners. This is for those people, and really people who are business owners, and why they need to be the dumbest person in the room to continue to grow their business. And this is also for, I guess, really the household and your just general life, but we're talking specifically business here. And if you have questions, or you can relate or anything like that, make sure you leave a comment below. Right now, we're missing our co-host, Mr. Christian. Let me see here. I think we got a comment. I'm trying to pull this up. One second, guys. Um, my phone is just being really crazy right now. So, okay. Let me see here. No, okay. It said that I got a comment, and then now I can't see it. So if you did leave a comment, I will be back to that after. It just doesn't look like it's showing right now. Um, all right. So again, to kind of recap, number one, uh, To really be able to lead other people, you need to be following or being led by somebody else. And the reason for that, again, just to recap, is because if you're not growing, then it's going to be harder for you to lead the next group of people. So if you can think about this as like climbing up a mountain, you're climbing up the side of the mountain and you're able to throw down a rope to somebody else and help them up. But if somebody else isn't throwing a rope down to you, it's going to be so much harder for you to be able to climb up higher. All right, moving on here to number 2. And this is probably a what is a common phrase that you hear is you're the average of the 5 people around you. Now, this could be home life, business life, this could be anything, but you're the average of the 5 people around you. Most of our life is really spent at the workplace. So if you're surrounding yourself with people who aren't quote unquote smarter than you, then you're doing yourself a disservice. Which, as the business owner in your company, it's why you always should do. I think what's called is the 50 up. So and we stole this from Noah Kagan, so shout out to him. But basically, it's saying like when you hire somebody, they should be better than 50% of your employees, especially at that position. So, for example, if we are looking for another advertising person for our company, we would want to make sure that they are. It's let's say Ryan and I in the company are doing ads. They would need to be 50%. They would need to be better than at least Ryan or better than at least me, because we want to make sure to up level the I don't know the I guess the whole group for the advertising side. We wouldn't ever want to hire somebody that's just going to get trained by somebody else and then they have to learn. And it's just this uphill battle. So you always want to do 50% above that. So it's just like a hiring tip, but it allows you to surround yourself with more people who are not average. And if you're the average or even the lowest person on your totem pole here, but you're able to bring in better people, then you're going to start to ask the right questions, but you're also going to grow in the right directions as well. All right, I guess our Mr. Co-host here is who knows where he is at. I think he's during a meeting. So if you're jumping in live, make sure you leave a comment. I'm trying my best to be able to see the comments if there are any. Um, and if you are just now joining us, we are talking about why being the dumbest person in the room is the best thing. And you're going to learn why it is the best thing to be the dumbest person in the room. A lot of people, I think, believe that being the smartest person in the room is the best, which is a good thing sometimes, but it's not always the best thing. Maybe the smartest person in the room if you're like the teacher or you're the one giving the presentation, but probably not the best thing for you is like a constant environment. So, and then this is really we're talking specifically for business owners, like local business owners who are trying to build their teams, build their company. That's who this is for. And our last one that we have here is this is where you're going to learn the most. So the questions that you ask, the groups that you're part of, and I want to give some places that you can go and be, or I can say like the dumbest person in the room, and that is like going to conferences and buying the VIP package. That's probably one of the best ways that you can do this, because the other people who buy these VIP packages are also people who maybe they have a little bit more affluency, who knows, but more importantly, they're paying for that VIP package and there's a reason that they're doing that. So you get to surround yourself with a smaller group of people. It's more intimate and you can learn from that. The second thing you want to do is make sure that you're part of like a mastermind or um, something similar, because if you're paying for a mastermind, what's happening is, yes, it's going to probably be expensive, but more than likely you're going to make so much more off of it because you're part of that group. The mastermind allows you to make connections that you just never know where they're going to go. But I will say that from any kind of coaching that Christian and I have done, or any type of like VIP groups that we've been a part of through like the conferences that we went to, that's where we were able to go to special activities, get more intimate conversations with people. That's where like the magic happens. Another really good place for you to go is volunteer or give back into your community, because the leaders in the community are the ones who are also giving back. So you should do that with a like a I would say like a good heart. You shouldn't just go there to try to get business, but if you're going there openly to actually help somebody, the types of people who are going to be able to volunteer and who are thinking about that are also those who you should probably interact with as well. This is where you're going to have, again, to this point, this is where you're going to learn the most, because those kind of conversations that you're going to have there are not going to be your typical conversations. You're going to be talking about the community, what you can do that's better. You can talk about so many different things that are going to allow you to grow as a person. Um, and thanks for those of you who are jumping in live. Please make sure you leave a comment below. That way we know you're jumping in. I see we got a couple people live right now. So if you leave a comment, and those who are watching after the replay, just say there's going to be a replay. Looks like we're going to do a short live stream today. Our partner in crime, Mr. Christian, is out. But more importantly, number one is to truly grow, you need to be be led, not just be leading. And then,
What's
what's
up?
going on? Hello, welcome. I was just telling the people what you looked like, and they weren't believing me. I was like, people, no, he's for real. He's here. So nice.
Just running
Had
a
some
little bit late.
business. Nice. Had some good business to take care of.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nice. Well, there we go, people. This is Christian. Hey, Christian, thanks for joining us.
How's it going, everyone?
Although Christian has the running person and I got the dinosaur, which I'm cool with that. I like the dinosaur.
We're flipped.
Yeah, we're flipped a little bit. I think normally am I on the other side or vice versa? I feel like this is normal. Maybe not. So to give you kind of a recap of what we've talked about so far, we've went over the three, but now I'm more interested in your thoughts on this, because I think the people want to know. And I could probably figure out the comments section. I was trying to do the comments and all of this at once, so it was a little bit harder. I need like 3 monitors to make it work correctly. But number one was to truly grow, you need to lead and also be led. So, I mean, I gave the example of us. Yeah, we have employees, or we're leading at our household. I'm leading Aspen, you're leading Piper, or whatever. So we lead that. But more importantly, we should be led, which is like coaches or a mastermind or something else. And I gave the analogy or the example of like climbing a mountain. It's easy for you to kind of throw down a rope and help somebody else up. But if you don't get a rope thrown down to you, it's going to be hard to climb that rope as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Give me 1 second.
Okay. We're going to give Christian 1 second. I think your video part is lagging a little bit too, because I feel like you're still there. And then maybe it's off by just a few seconds. So you just let us know when you're back. I got to. Oh, somebody just stepped out there. But well, guys, I promise you, Christian is he's gonna come back. So if you can, has anybody ever done ever done this before, where you jump on it with a live stream and then something comes up, you have an error while you're doing a video? Because if that's the case, I think we may be the only ones. I'm just kidding. But if you are jumping in live, I really want to hear, do you guys have mentors? Are you part of a mastermind? Drop a comment below. Like, are you being led by somebody else? If not, that's also, something to talk about. But go ahead and leave a comment below. I want to check those out. Make sure I can actually see them. That's the biggest thing, is if you're live, I just want to see the comment so I can, I feel like I'm getting notifications, but then it doesn't show up correctly on the phone. It like or
I'm back for good.
I guess. Oh, yay, welcome back. So did you hear the question?
No, what was the question?
Well, it was more of like a statement, I guess. I gave the analogy of climbing the mountain, so there was no question. Just more so, did you have any thoughts on that analogy, or being led, but also leading?
No. So I mean, I guess you're saying that so the title is being the dumbest person is the best thing. Um, you're saying that you don't have to be the dumbest person. You can be both. Is that what you're saying by the lead, but also be led?
No, I mean, so I guess I can see what you mean there, but like to focus it in. Good afternoon, gentlemen. Sat Matthew says, "Hello, Matthew. Good to see you, sir." What I mean by that is you can still lead people and be the smartest person in that room. It's just you shouldn't always be the smartest person in the room. So you've got to find ways or avenues to become the dumbest person in the room, because when you're the dumbest person in the room, it allows you to be a better leader when you are quote unquote the smartest person in the room. So I don't think that it's a matter I don't think it's a matter of you should always be the dumbest person in the room. It's just you have to make sure that you're not just always the smartest person. So for you, if you're the best website designer in every single networking group you go to, then you're not doing anything. You're adding too much value to those people and you're not getting anything out of it. They're getting a ton, but you're not growing. You may be growing by learning, but you're not really developing or growing because of that.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I agree with that.
Good. It'd be more fun if you didn't, but good. The second thing we covered
You
just
need to
is
get Ryan in here. I think Ryan would disagree.
why would Ryan disagree?
That's just what he likes to do. I feel like he would disagree, just to disagree, and he would find like a good, compelling argument. I would say.
Gotcha. Is he like in the room with you right now, like telling you, like, "Hey, let me on here, let me around here"? Because
No,
he
he's
did
not.
jump on. Oh, he did jump on at the very beginning for a second. In the beginning, he's like, "Hey, do you need a co-host?" And I was like, "I don't know, potentially. Jump on."
Jump on.
But he did for a second. But then also second to recap again, we'll just kind of get your final feedback here since we went through them. Matthew says, I really have the whole dumbest person in the room down to perfection. Well, that's good, Matthew.
He's actually, yeah. I mean, actually, I can tell you. I couldn't tell you, but I feel like Matthew has said or told me multiple stories where he's talking to some of his friends, and he just feels like what, like he doesn't have anything to add to it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's something that could be bad if you're the dumbest person in the room. How do you add value to everyone else around you who is like leaps and bounds, not necessarily just smarter, but they just know the lingo that they're talking about, right? How do you fit into something like that?
Well, that's a good question. I think that the people who are smarter, or if they're that much smarter, then they have the methodology that you can learn something from everybody. So Matthew may not be the smartest person. I'm not. I'm using his own words here. So don't hurt me, Matthew. But like, he may not be the smartest person in the room for X, but he's probably very, very intelligent about one thing, and they could learn something from him. So it may just be his expertise. Like, if I was to ask Christian, "Hey, can you help me go change my air conditioner in my car this weekend?" You're not gonna be able to help me with that, but that doesn't mean you're dumb. But if you are the dumbest person in the room who's learning stuff about a car, you're gonna learn a ton. But that doesn't mean that you couldn't give advice on teaching somebody Spanish or design or anything else. So it's not that you couldn't add value. It's just being the dumbest person in the room also can help you.
Do you fake it?
No, not at all. I think I mean, depending on what you're going there for. So, I mean, it should, most of the time, I think the people who are um what is the word? Like, if you're going into an environment like that, and most of the time, if they're smarter people, they're going to be a lot more accepting and say, okay, great, I know I've been at that position before, I've been there before, so they're a lot more accepting. But if you just try to lie about it, and then, or you try to fake it, then it's like, okay, now you just look bad. So for example, if you didn't know the difference between a crescent wrench and a, you know, I don't know, a screwdriver, and you faked it, they're like, okay, this guy's acting like he knows something, but he doesn't know anything. Versus being humble and saying, "Look, Matthew says humble here." being humble, they're going to be like, oh yeah, I'll teach you. I'll jump on and actually, educate you. Matthew says being in a room with extremely intelligent businessmen is very intimidating, but also one of the best learning experiences that there is, and humbling. Yeah, absolutely. Um, this is kind of related, but not really. But I was watching a video and it said, to give you an idea of like the differences between like echelons of smarter people in the room and dumber people in the room. Um, it would be nice, or it'd be cool to like sit at a desk with a millionaire and you'd get great advice. And then you sit at a table or whatever else with a billionaire. And it's like some people, and Christian knows I feel strongly about this, like people who use the phrase millionaires and billionaires in the same sentence. It doesn't, I don't think that part of it matters nearly as much as what I'm trying to point out is like the understanding of that and understanding what people, um, what I was going to say, like just being in that type of environment, I guess, is the thing that I was getting at. But the video, the most important thing of what I was trying to say is that they did a video and it says the New York Times told people this is how you can tell the difference between a millionaire and a billionaire. So if you put seconds in a day, a millionaire would last like 11 days and 11 and a half days or whatever. A billionaire in seconds would last you 31 years. So I just want to share that to the point of like who you're around. Yeah, the scale, but like if you sit down with millionaires, and you're a bunch of millionaires or whatever, you could still be the smartest person in that room and it's not going to do anything. So to level up, you have to go to that billionaire level or whatever else. And that's just a money scale. But I just thought it was interesting regardless. Like we don't understand what we don't know, which is part of this, which is we don't know what questions we're going to ask because we're not in the room to ask those questions.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And so then you talked about you are the average of the 5 people around you.
Yes. And I think it's the average of the 5 people around you in different groups. So like you have like your work group, and I talked a little bit about that, which was the 50-50 leveling up, which like I was telling you we should do, which is if we have 2 creative people like you and Jack, the next person that we hire that's in the creative department should be better than one of you. No matter what. Like hopefully better than both of you at something, but at least better than one of you so that you level up and you're around those people who are smarter. Like we don't want to hire somebody who's now worse at graphic design and worse at video production, and then we have to train them to go to that next level. Like that's not going to help us. But hiring up is going to be very helpful. So I think it's work and those 5 people on average, and then it's also like home and any other communities that you're around. Like I think that where you spend the most amount of time in those averages, and that's why. So it'd be great to be the dumbest person in the room or be way below the average, but you're hanging out with people who are so much quote unquote smarter than you in different areas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think the hiring higher than you as far as like certain skill sets, I think at first it sounds intimidating, right? Because I mean we're the bosses and we're gonna hire people who know more than us about certain topics or certain skills. So I feel like there's always like Matthew said, like a level of intimidation right in there. But I think it's just a matter, like you said, where they sort of compliment you with the things that you do know how to do, right? So where the business owners were great leaders, then we should be able to lead them and know enough about that topic or that subject or that skill set in order to lead them into doing great things. Because I remember when our coaches first talked about that, and we've talked about that in the past, I feel like it's always just a little bit intimidating that there's going to be people who are way smarter than us at doing something, but at the end of the day you got to look at the whole skill set of that person, right? They may not be the best leader, but they're probably the best at staying on task and finishing projects and things like that.
Absolutely. What else was I going to say from that? Oh, if you're jumping in live, please make sure to leave a comment, or you're watching the replay, make sure you hit replay. Leave a comment that says replay. So just kind of replay this or replay this in. For those who are jumping in, we're talking about being the dumbest person in the room and really why it's the best thing. And what you're going to learn is that not only why you should be the dumbest person in the room, but some ways that you can find yourself to being the dumbest person in the room. And we're specifically talking about this for local business owners, but really any business owners, and it's got a business focus. But I think this could be helpful for you in all areas of your life, but really those local business owners, because I think that what happens is you get stuck into this world of like in your business so much. You maybe go to networking, you maybe go to your office and you talk to people there, but then you don't really go outside of that. Unless you're part of a mastermind or an outside group or anything, you don't really leave your sphere. You kind of stay right there. So this is for those people who need the encouragement to leave that as well. All right, and our last point here. This is like when you're the dumbest person in the room, this is where you're going to learn the most. It's where you're going to ask the most questions. And I keep going back to the one about Christian and the mechanic, or me trying to build a house or something. Going and doing those things is where you're going to have the most growth. It's about helping you in those areas. But if you're talking about business, the best thing you could do is hire a mentor or somebody who's 2 or 3 steps ahead of you. It doesn't have to be specifically to your industry, but 2 or 3 steps ahead of you, because then you know what basically pitfalls are coming ahead of that direction. Hey, you're going to have a problem with hiring. You're going to have a problem with profitability. You're going to have a problem with like an economic downturn. Like, how can you prepare for these things so that you don't just run into the same problems somebody else has? So that's where you're going to get the conversations going, and they're going to help you ask the right questions.
Yeah, and I would say not even you could probably even find niche sort of networking groups, right? Or talks or workshops or different things like that. You can go to meetup.com. You can go to Eventbrite and try to find, I know, for example, for us, like website design, graphic design, UX, all those things, even marketing, Facebook, Instagram, are all topics that you could easily search on some of these event platforms, even Facebook, and find events nearby or in Dallas where we're able to, meet like-minded people, meet other business owners that are doing the exact same thing that we're doing, business owners that have done what we've been doing, and make connections that way. I think that's also another avenue. You don't have to necessarily, hire someone to gain that knowledge. You could also sort of make friends and acquaintances with industry peers, right?
Yeah. And I was given the example of like a couple of ways that you can find people that are quote unquote smarter than you or be the dumbest person in the room. And one of those was to be, whenever you go to an event, go and pay the extra to be part of the VIP. You're going to find people that way. The second thing is to get involved in the community and volunteer, because the people who are volunteering in the community are the ones who care about it, and also usually leaders in the community. The third one is to spend the money on a mastermind. It's going to be probably expensive if it's a good mastermind, but you never know who you're going to meet from it. I know in the online world anyway, which probably means not a lot for like local businesses, but for the online people, it's like there's just a lot of really well-known online entrepreneurs now that all started in one mastermind like 7 years ago, and they just stayed friends and they just all grew high 7 figures, and one of them like an 8-figure business, and they just all started there just as small people, small peers. And I'm sure that they paid $10,000 or $15,000 for their mastermind for the year, which is a lot, but the connections that they have from that are probably worth 10x that, if not more.
It's kind of funny sometimes where you follow certain people like John Lee Dumas, maybe I don't know, Ramit Sethi, I don't know, all these people that we kind of follow on social media who have made it big, and then all of a sudden you find like the coaches of the coaches, and you're like, oh my gosh, like all these people were in the same class, or they took the same advice from this one person, and they've all sort of made it big or whatever. So yeah, that's always fun to find.
Yeah, and there's And to your point, like people in your industry, finding other people who are in your industry is a great way too. Like if you look at them as collaborative versus competition, it's like, hey, look, there's more than enough business for us to both go to the top. So I think that that's another way to look at it. And I think it's harder for local businesses like ourselves, just because we're like in a local area. So we feel like it's limited. It's like, oh no, there's only so much business in this area versus we got nationwide, like we can go, or worldwide, we can go after. So we could work together, and it'd be great to have a partnership like that. So, all right, I think that's all. Ryan left a comment. He says, "Hey Aaron, great stream. Did you happen to just receive a code from GoDaddy to your phone? If so, I'd love to know what it is." Ryan, let me see if I got the code to my phone. I did. I'll give it to you here shortly. Thanks for jumping into the live stream, though. It's nice to see you on Facebook. Everybody, that's Ryan. He is a campaign manager over here, as you can see. So thanks for jumping in. And for those who are jumping in live, please leave a comment below and let us know. I see there's 4 or 5 people now. So really the big question I had from this was, are you leading other people? Are you part of or other people leading you rather? So are you part of like a mastermind? Do you have business coaches? How are you kind of being led, not necessarily leading a team? Because I think a lot of you guys who are business owners are, but are you being led as well? So that was the biggest comment or the question I had. We'll stick around for just a second. Were you monitoring YouTube at all? I'm sure Jack was, but I can only see Facebook on my side right now. Matthew. Okay. Usually I see that there's 5 comments now. Cool. All right. Jack just gave us an update on YouTube, so we're good there. All right. Just a quick recap for you guys. Again, the title is Being the Dumbest Person is the Best Thing. And more importantly, we wanted to talk about why you should be the dumbest person in the room. This is for those local business owners specifically, or business owners in general, and why you need to take action now to go be the dumbest person in the room, what that means for you. And the first thing we covered was to truly grow, you need to lead and also be led. So go find some coaches, go find a mastermind, go find people in your industry to be collaborative with. The second thing is that you're the average of the 5 people that are around you. So that's not only in business, but in your personal life as well. So make sure that you are leveling up with the people you're spending time with. And then lastly, this is where you're going to learn the most. So these are where you're going to get the most answers to your questions that you don't know to ask yet. So I don't know what those questions are yet. You don't know what those questions are yet. But when you're around these people, you're going to think more critically and you're going to ask more questions. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please make sure to leave a comment, whatever platform you end up watching this on, whether it's through the podcast or listening to it through the podcast or YouTube or Facebook. Make sure to leave a comment. Any parting words for this beautiful day there, Christian?
No, just thank you for having me. Sorry I was late. I'll do better next time. Also, I want to make a comment. You have fake clouds, but I have real clouds in the background.
So do you have a problem with Toy Story?
No, I'm just saying I have real clouds.
Gotcha.
That's kind of cool.
That is very cool, actually. Your clouds kind of look like mine.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. All right. Well, is this the direction that you are right now? Does that look right?
Mm-hmm. Nice. You're over here. No, you're over here.
This way. I'm trying to see it on the live stream if I'm doing it correctly. Cool. All right. Thank you guys so much for jumping in. Make sure if you watched for the replay or you're jumping in now, make sure to leave us a comment so we know you're on there. I'd love to have a conversation with you. Bye.